Ordinary guys doing extraordinary things. The Trilby Tour is brought to you in association with William Hunt, Savile Row, and Callaway.
Think of the best golf movies ever made. The Legend of Bag of Ants. Tin Cup. Penny Shack. Greatest game ever played. Happy Gilmore. That's right, we've had it all on the Trilby Tour. Welcome to our latest blockbuster, event number 5 from Rockliffe Hall.
At the KP Club near York last week, James Gray turned in a stunning performance on his home course to become the highest ever handicapper to win a regional title on the tour. The 18 handicapper produced the shots when he needed them to take the Trilby Tour Championship of Yorkshire. This week we had 150 miles north to the fabulous Rockliffe Hall in County Durham as a field of 120 intrepid Trilby Tourians take on one of the longest courses in Europe. A big course, rapidly making a massive name for itself in golfing circles. Up for grabs this week, the Trilby Tour Championship of the North. It really is all about golf on this week's show, and stunning golf at that. Shot of the day will be a very tricky call from a whole host of genuine contenders. But don't worry, it's not all good. Rogues Gallery will be bringing up the rear with this week's tribute to the Blob. You don't want to miss that at the end of the show. The Trilby Tour Champion of Scotland and the North, Trevor Taylor, is back to defend his title and once again has his eye on the playoff. We'll bring you up to date with the players that made top 10 for a place at the International Amateur Final at the Buckinghamshire Golf Club come the end of the season. And as always, the top 4 go head-to-head over 3 holes in a winner-takes-all playoff. We'll have full highlights coverage of an amazing contest for this week's title. Right, let's get to it. Shutting out 110 disappointed Trilby-Torians was Mr. Popular here at Rockliffe Hall. Paul Walsh from the Richmond Club in North York's dashing the hopes of those on 32 points and below before dashing to the car for a timely escape. 11 handicapper Tom Weir was the only home club hero to make it through this week. The Rockliffe Hall young maestro in a four-way tie for 6th place on 34 points. Playing off +1 is always a challenge, but the big man, Chris Hewitt, was up to it. The Beamish Park player had the measure of this monster course with some monster hitting. And such a shame. I had Hewitt blew it lined up weeks ago, but he didn't. Worksop Golf Club's Stephen Williamson also came in on 34 points to tie for 6th. Finesse, course management and a Who's the Daddy swagger, earning him a place at the International Amateur Final. And the last of our 6th place finishers was this week's coolest named golfer, John Paul Byron, a man that has been hotly tipped to go well at the Buckinghamshire Golf Club later this year. And many thanks to John Paul for passing that tip on to me. It's unusual for such a young venue to create such a stir over so short a period of time, but that's exactly what Rockliffe Hall has done in the last 2 years, emerging as a gem in the North East golfing crown. Here's Ian Knight to tell us more.
A lot of thought went into it. The designer was a chap called Mark Westenborg, who redid Sunningdale. He's done a lot of courses on the Algarve, and he started with a blank canvas really, and the idea is to put a championship course here, and I think that's been delivered. It's basically one of the longest courses in the UK, and in the top 4 or 5 in Europe, so that's a big thing. There's a lot of water out there, the rough is quite penal. So it's a great course, and they're not hitting driver wedge here, it's driver 3 iron, driver 3 wood, so it's a long course. A lot of bunkers, they're not easy to play out of, they're right in range off most of the tees, so I'd be surprised if most of the guys don't spend a bit of time in the sand today. Well, it's great to bring any event to a new place like Rockliffe Hall. We've been open 2 years now. Having the Trilby Tour here is fantastic. It's a great opportunity for us to showcase not only the golf club but the hotel and the spa and everything else that we're all about.
Back to the qualifiers now, and this week's unluckiest Trilby Torian, Matthew McGrady, was so close to a shootout for the playoff. In fact, the 4 handicapper from the Northumberland club needed just 1 point to make it happen, but despite this impressive shot at 18, he had to settle for top 10 and a place at the big show come the end of the season. A great result, but Mr. McGrady clearly came to win. And talking of coming to win, Trevor Taylor was back to try and recreate the magic of his triumph at Murray's Hall in Perth last season. A true Trilby Tour legend, Trevor realised a dream in 2010 when he became a regional champion, and he was here at Rockliffe Hall to defend his title. Here's Trevor.
My memories from Murray's Hall are still very strong in my mind, to be honest. One of the greatest days of my life. In fairness, even thinking about it now, I still probably get quite emotional about it. The object at Murray's Hall was to make the finals, see how we went, but actually get into the playoff and to win the playoff was just unbelievable. The crowd, local people, I mean there was hundreds of people there. Come On Scotland was being cried on almost every shot, and yeah, it was very emotional. I think I had advantage in the fact that I've been involved in the Trilby Tour since the start, and you know, you guys with the cameras, I must admit, I would love to say I'm not totally put off by it. You're conscious that they're there, but I was reasonably relaxed. You know, it was never a lag, although William keeps saying to me, you lagged that pup. And I was almost getting around because I was going to knock it in and he wanted me to mark it. And as I said on the green, it wouldn't have been a good time to get the yips.
With the regional title under his belt, Trevor headed to the International Amateur Final along with the other 7 champions.
Well, it sounds soft about it, but you felt like a superstar for the day. You really, really did. You know, there was no doubt about it. The attention was on all of the regional winners. How they set it up, it was very Reservoir Dogs-ish. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. I can certainly understand why people enjoy doing such things for a living. The day after my event was actually aired, where I won the Scottish event, I was down at one of my clients doing a site survey in Peterborough, and I went to purchase something from one of the tills, and as I handed over my bank card, the lady said to me, "I knew it was you. My husband was watching you on the television last night," as she read my name off the card. So it's been very, very good. Yeah. I would love to make the playoff again, and I would love to continue as a champion on the Trilby Tour. But the focus is definitely on making the final.
And at this point, you want me to say that Trevor made the playoff to give himself a shot at that elusive Trilby Tour feat, something yet to be achieved on the tour, a successful title defence. Unfortunately though, despite draining that one, it wasn't to be Trevor's day, and the soon-to-be former champion of Scotland and the North was heading back over the border empty-handed. Which leaves us with this week's 4 title contenders. First up in a 3-way tie for second, it's Johnny Milani. No stranger to Trilby success, Johnny qualified top 10 from Murray's Hall last season. This year the Ralston man went one better. The most decorated Trilby Tourian in this week's playoff is this man, Cumbrian County player Andrew Milray. The Windermere Golf Club 1 handicapper looked a very good bet going into the top 4 head-to-head. And also in second, another class act. 6 handicapper Julian Hayward from Barnard Castle looked the business on his way to 36 points and a place in the playoff. And last but by no means least, Sproulston Manor's very own Paul Collins topped the leaderboard with 37 points, heading into the playoff as marginal favourite, but conscious of the fact that the top scorer rarely wins the title, and he was up against 3 very good players. Last week though, James Gray proved that the high handicappers can do it. You guys know the drill now. Walsh, Weir, Hewitt, Williamson, Byron and McGrady will be heading to the International Amateur Final at the Buckinghamshire Golf Club in a few weeks' time. And in a few minutes' time, Milani, Milray, Hayward and Collins will be lining up for the winner-takes-all Trilby Tour playoff. See you after the break.
The Trilby Tour is brought to you in association with Callaway. The Trilby Tour is brought to you in association with William Hunt, Savile Row.
Welcome back to Rockliffe Hall and the Trilby Tour Championship of the North. It's nearly time to start the 4-man winner-takes-all playoff between Johnny Milani, Andrew Milray, Julian Hayward and the day's top scorer Paul Collins. But before we do, here's Rockliffe Hall's Golf and Events Director Ian Knight to tell us about the first playoff hole.
3 playoff holes today, first 17 and 18. First, it's a long hole. It's again a tricky one. You've got a wooded area on the left-hand side and pretty heavy rough left and right. So a lot of guys might take a 3-wood off there, or those a bit braver. You're into a match play virtually situation. Obviously in a playoff, you get the big one out and have a go at it basically. The hardest thing about the first Irish thing is that there's a bunker right in front of the green. If that wasn't there, it'd be a lot easier. So it's not a case of running it onto the green. You've got to play a high one in there and try and stop it. So it's hard.
First to tee it up, the day's leading scorer Paul Collins, 37 points in regulation, now a distant memory as the playoff's highest handicapper prepares to do battle.
Paul Collins, 45. From Sproulston Golf Club in Norwich, and I'm played off a handicap of 8 today. During the week, I'm an engineering manager for a prawn company in Norwich. Golf's now my hobbies. So I used to ride motorbikes, but I've given that up because I kept falling off. My favourite golfer is Rory McIlroy. My sporting hero is my dad, who taught me to play golf. Norwich City. The strengths today were definitely my drive, and I didn't miss many fairways today. Weaknesses, I'm not going to give that away just yet.
Canny stuff from Paul. Well, he gets a shot on this first hole. And it's all good. Mr. Collins hits a scorching opener. And for those of you wondering if you heard correctly concerning Paul's day job, if you were thinking of decapod crustaceans, you were on the right lines. Next to the tee, another fine amateur who so nearly turned pro back in the day. Can the Cumbrian County man make his mark here at Rockliffe Hall?
My name's Andrew Milray. I'm from Windermere Golf Club in the Lake District and I play off handicap of 1. My day job, I'm a self-employed property maintenance man and I'm also a part-time crew manager with Cumbria Fire and Rescue Service. I don't really have any hobbies outside of golf. My favourite golfer is Rory McIlroy. Suffer with the putter sometimes, a bit streaky with the putter. When it's working, it works well. When it doesn't work at all. It's just a bit hit and miss sometimes.
Occasionally dodgy with the wand. We've all been there, Andy, but it's your driving boots you need right now. No shots for Andrew on this first hole. And he's going right towards the water hazard. But the spotters say just coming up short of a serious problem. Johnny Malani next up, the man with Trilby Tour form, as they say. Top 10 last year at Murray's Hall, top 4 so far this year.
Johnny Malani, he's 22, representing Nelson, playing off 3. Day job is I work in a timber merchant called Hillington Timber. Outside of golf, football mostly, and going to the pub, let's be honest. My football team is Rangers. Say my sporting hero is probably Messi. Favourite golfer would be Alvaro Giros. Basically because he just wants to hit it as far as he can all the time. You can't argue with that. In the course, I'd say my short game's my strengths. Weaknesses are probably what to do anyway, driving. And that's basically it, I would say. Excited, looking forward to it. A bit nervous. As long as I stick to my game, I think it'll be okay.
Will this be Kiros-like? That's the question. Not bad from Scotland's main man in the playoff, but it needs to be. No shots for Johnny on this first hole. And now for our final playoff contender, Julian Hayward, coming into this showdown in good shape.
My name's Julian Hayward, I'm aged 41, I play at Barnet Castle Golf Club, and today I've been playing off 5. My day job, I work for Thomson Reuters, I'm a network architect. I play a lot of golf. Outside of golf, cycling, do a lot of cycling to and from work. My favourite golfer is Luke Donald. Sporting hero would be Steve Redgrave. The football team I support is Chelsea. We had a really good day today. We played well, so I'm looking forward to playing. Weaknesses, I'm inconsistent, so driving would be a weakness. But today we went really well, so strength would be a good short game.
Just like Paul, Julian gets a shot at playoff hole 1 and gets it away in some style. Hold on to your Trilbys, we're off and running. Driving can be a problem, eh? Great shot from Mr. Hayward to get his playoff underway, and I'm delighted to say, joining me in the commentary booth, my favourite golfer, my sporting hero, Matt Woods. Matt, how are you?
Thanks, Simon. All good this end. Great start to the playoff. Course looks in fantastic condition. And I must say, 4 very composed golfers on the first tee. So we should be in for an exciting playoff.
Johnny Malani then, qualified last year from Murray's Hall in Perth, doesn't like it, thinks it's in the bunker. Oh, and he skipped on. Well, we've seen that before on this Trilby Tour. Bit of luck for Malani to start with, but he's still left with a tough one.
Yeah, many ingredients needed to win. A little bit of luck doesn't go amiss.
Now, Julian Hayward, worried about his consistency from the tee, and he's battered this down the middle.
Yeah, he's only left himself about an 8 iron in. Be looking to throw this up in the air, wind off the right, just let it feed back towards that flag.
Oh yes, and that wind, Matt, that you mentioned, it's actually quite tricky. It is blowing very hard off the right shoulder.
Yeah, with those trees down the left, giving the players something to think about off the tee. Actually going to help them here with this second shot with where that flag is. Collins will be looking to start this some 5 or 6 paces right of the flag, just let it drift back. Super tee shot. Again, just with a 6 or a 7 iron here. Oh, and another one gets a friendly bounce forward and another fantastic shot to open up this playoff.
Yeah, Collins and Hayward in great position. Milray just short of the water hazard. Didn't quite get it right off the tee, and he's the man under pressure, isn't he, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of guys receiving a shot on this opening hole. Needs to get this one in close. Only going in with a wedge. Really has battered that tee shot down there. But this is more downwind from that angle and difficult to control it. And he really left himself a smelly little pitch back there.
Yeah, always tricky coming out of that area of rough. Milray knows that he's under pressure very early on in this playoff. Unfortunately, the weather not quite doing justice to this beautiful venue here at Rockliffe Hall. Tricky conditions for the players. Milray and Malani off the back of the green.
And the only advantage he's got here is he's back into the wind, so he can produce a little bit of spin, but off a downhill lie out the semi-rough, difficult to control. Executed it beautifully. That's 8 feet past, but that's about as good as he could have done.
Yeah, and the man who has got through pre-qualifying for the Euro Pro Tour a few years ago, proving what a great golfer he is, Andrew Milray, putting himself back in some sort of contention.
Now Milani will have learnt a lot from his playing partner's chip. Be looking to land this about a pace on the green, just let it release down to that flag. Get in.
Drama in the Trilby Tour playoff, and it's delivered by this man, Johnny Milani. What a shot.
Just watch the gallery here, they know this is in from 10 feet out. Executed that beautifully with his lob wedge, and in she goes. Fantastic bit of drama.
What a result for Johnny Milani. Wink to the caddy, 1 under, and the Scotsman from Ralston Golf Club is the leader. What a wonderful start to this playoff, and immediately pressure on the rest.
But don't forget Simon, Hayward and Collins both receive a shot here on the first, so this is for a 3-net 2. Chipping from Milani was an absolute must. Now this putt just off the left hand side but uphill, can afford to be aggressive.
Yes. Oh my goodness me, it's all kicking off here at Rockliffe Hall.
Yeah, I hope Milani enjoyed his leading role for all of about 30 seconds. And for our new leader, 3-net 2.
Julian Hayward, little punch of the air there with a very confident feel to this first hole. Goes into the lead at 2 under. But it's not over just yet. Paul Collins has a chance.
Similar putt off the left hand side, a little bit more downhill now, slightly different angle.
In you go. This is just phenomenal stuff. They're like prize fighters going toe to toe.
Yeah, a little jab there with a putter, closely followed by an aggressive uppercut with the right hand, and he's got the boys on the ropes early doors in this playoff.
Brilliant. Hayward and Collins, joint leaders at the first playoff hole here at Rockliffe Hall, both on 2 under. Would you believe it?
Now we do have a 4th player in this playoff here, and he needs to make something happen. Has already had 3 shots and doesn't receive a shot, so this is a must putt if he's going to contend. Oh, I think he's just misread that. He's read that outside the left side, and a disappointing start.
And the man who works as a retained firefighter for Cumbria Fire and Rescue is going to have to dial 999, I'm afraid. Andrew Milray at +1, in trouble after the first playoff hole. What a start to this playoff. 3 out of 4 under par and 2 to play. More cracking action to come here on Sky Sports right after the break.
The Trilby Tour is brought to you in association with Callaway. The Trilby Tour is brought to you in association with William Hunt, Savile Row.
Welcome back to Rockliffe Hall and a fantastic playoff for the Trilby Tour Championship of the North. 3 out of 4 players under par at the moment. Here's Ian Knight again to tell us about playoff hole 2.
17th in the playoff. We're moving the tee forward for the playoff, and that gives them the opportunity to really have a go at it. There's a lake and some bunkers to clear. I think the carry there is over 220, 230 yards. So the big hitters is attempting to have a go at it, and they can nearly get up in 1 there. If you're not so big, then obviously you have to take the route down the fairway and hit a short iron in. So it's a classic match play hole, that one.
Well, a couple of our players certainly have the armoury to take the water on, but I suspect this man at 2 under after the first hole, Paul Collins, will knock it right down the middle of the fairway, give himself an angle into that flag, and he is swinging the club very smoothly indeed.
Yeah, and once again splits the fairway. Beautiful tee shot just down that right side, safely negotiating the water, and a fantastic idea moving this tee up. Creates a completely different dynamic for this hole. And this guy's got the armoury to get there. And really, in his situation, it's a must go for.
Milray rips it, but no, that one's leaking right. And once again, he's off of the fairway and into the rough stuff. And Andrew Milray, the Cumbrian County player, is not having it all his own way in this playoff by any means.
Now Milani, unusual, see a good player without a glove on. Interesting to see what he does here. Probably has got the armoury to get it over those bunkers and get it up close to the front edge. Only one shot back, doesn't want to do anything silly or drastic just yet. And another sensible tee shot.
Yeah, the former Glasgow Rangers youth footballer getting that one very handily into play, so Milani in good shape. Now then, will Julian Hayward just try and pinch a little bit off here on the corner of the water and try and put some pressure on Collins, his co-leader?
Yeah, I don't think he's gone for that intentionally. I think he's just come over it and pulled it. It's bouncing around.
Oh, that's trouble. That is trouble. Now, not in the water, not in the sand, but not in great shape.
It's going to leave him an interesting second shot in, and a wry little smile. He knows what's coming.
There's some nice camaraderie on the tee. Paul Collins having a word. Those are our two guys going head to head at the moment, and I must say, for our middleweight, it's a handy blow for Collins.
He left himself about 90 yards in, looking straight down the flag. Just a little wedge shot here, back in the stance, just trying to pinch this in a little bit lower. And once again, looks to have executed that beautifully.
Oh, hello, hello. Oh, not quite, but everything but, and it's a gimme to Collins. Is that the knockout blow?
Now the scary thing for the other three boys is he gets a shot here, so that's a birdie net eagle putt coming up. Hayward's got no choice, needs to jam this in somewhere inside 20 feet. He's got two options, can play at the aerial route, but danger of it hooking left off this lie, or he could try and chip and chase something up, which is the option he's taken.
So nearly a very good shot. It's not bad, Matt, from there.
Not bad in normal circumstances, but these aren't normal circumstances.
No, that's a good point, and Andrew Milray definitely not finding himself in circumstances that he would consider normal. He's a really classy player, and this has to be spot on.
Again, coming out that long grass, very difficult to control the ball once it lands. Expect to see this shoot on a little bit as it's done. A pretty good attempt, some 25 feet left there for his three.
Well, he's a good golfer. He knows what the situation is, and for Milray, I know it's early doors, but his race is probably run, and it's down to Hayward, Milani, both chasing Collins.
Yeah, super tee shot. It's only got about 75 yards in. Just going to avoid that front right bunker. Oh, an aggressive shot. Unlucky not to generate any spin there. Just releases out. That's going to give his playing partner a good line.
Incredulous look, I think they call that, from young Milani, the 22-year-old Scotsman. Not quite in the shape that he wanted to be, and it really is all about Paul Collins. And because, Matt Woods, of this shot.
Yeah, definitely worth another look. As we said, a little wedge, just bringing this in a fraction lower than normal. Pitches it on the front edge, couple of bounces, grabs there, and picture perfect.
Paul Collins, sporting hero, his dad on his bag, would have been delighted with that one. Everybody else then under pressure.
Yeah, Hayward needs to hold this really. Just a little chip and run with his wedge. And an aggressive shot as you'd expect, but some 6 feet back now for par. And a slightly resigned look.
Well, Milani, he's also not out of it, but again, from off of the green, he needs to pop this one in the hole.
Yeah, sensible choice here with the putter. Just going to move fractionally off that right side and just under borrowed. But a good pace putt, and again, as we say, under normal circumstances that would be fine.
And Matt, we're seeing some really classy golf in this playoff, but some of it is being humbled by the quality of Paul Collins.
Yeah, 4 players to watch out for at the final in the Bucks in a couple of months' time. Now Milray would have learnt off of that putt, so just down that right side, but really not his day today. And a disappointing playoff, but a player to watch for the future.
Yeah, I think as a county player he will have played on a lot of different tracks over the years, and so going down to the Bucks to compete in the International Amateur Final won't cause him any concerns. Not his day today, but keep an eye on him at the final.
Now mentally, not a great place for Hayward to be. Needs to hold this for his par, and if he does, he's 2 under through 2 and more than likely going to be 2 shots back.
Well done though, well done. That's all he could do, Matt.
Yeah, he's digging deep. He's just letting Collins know I'm still here. And as you say in golf, anything can happen.
That's it, yeah, if Collins wants to miss his little 6-inch putt.
I don't think you'd miss that, Simon.
Now Milray for par. You can see the man's shoulders have dropped, and they're going to drop further. That's it for Andrew Milray. He's going to be 6 shots down on the leader heading into the last playoff hole.
Now Milani for par. Another player who must be shell-shocked. 1 under through 2, tough opening hole, makes a beautiful 3. Par's a second. And really at the moment the gallery's in danger of increasing by 3 people.
Yeah, Milani and Hayward have played beautiful golf, both in the red. I think I might have undercalled that putt actually. This looks to be about 8 inches.
You'd be getting a little bit more nervous. Great view this for Collins. His dad in the background. Doesn't get any better than this.
Unbelievable. A 2-shot lead for Paul Collins. Net eagle, off to the 3rd playoff hole. Job done, isn't it?
And he will smile in a minute, I promise you.
Well, he can definitely feel something in the air tonight. Collins continues his charge to Trilby glory here on Sky Sports after the break.
The Trilby Tour is brought to you in association with Callaway. The Trilby Tour is brought to you in association with William Hunt, Savile Row.
Welcome back to Rockliffe Hall and a Trilby Tour Classic. 1 to play, and Paul Collins is on his way to the best Trilby playoff score ever recorded. Here's Ian Knight to tell us what awaits our players at the last hole.
Dogleg 18th, my personal favourite hole. I think it's a great hole. A lot of guys will take a 3-wood, I think, for position. There's bunkers up on the right, but I think if you lay up there, you can have about 120, 130 into a pin. You've got bunkers in front of the green, so that makes it hard as well. You've got 2 massive trees in the way, so you need somebody that can draw a ball. But if you really want to have a go at it again, get your driver out, and you'll end up with a 90-yard pitch in. So good luck to them.
Ian Knight with a wry smile. I think he's enjoyed setting these 3 playoff holes up, but my goodness, it's produced some fantastic golf.
Yeah, they've done a wonderful job here, created some fantastic drama. Now, I'd have a little wager this is heading down the right side. Big trees down the left, a little bit of out of bounds, no trouble down the right.
It's okay for Paul Collins, our 2-shot leader. Important to point out, none of our players get a shot on this last hole. Spare a thought for this man, Andrew Milray. Quite a lot of people's favourite coming into this playoff, but getting no shots at all, and unfortunately for him, come up against 3 players who've played sublime golf.
Better looking swing here. Starting to think he was allergic to the short grass, but busted that straight up the middle.
That's more like it from Milray. Just a little reminder of his quality. Now how about this? 1 under in a Trilby Tour playoff, but you're 3 shots down.
Yeah, superb chip in back on the first. Hasn't really put a foot wrong.
And talking of feet, Matt, you know when Johnny Milani's going for it.
Absolutely. Just see him jump up on his toes there. Just trying to create a bit of room. A few extra miles an hour of club head speed. Now, if he can make a little 3, or it has been known, hole a wedge shot. I'm getting desperate now.
Here we go, the maths is coming into it. Yes, you along with Hayward and Milani getting desperate. Now then, all that Hayward can do here is make sure that this drive is good. Down the middle, give himself a shot. And then wait and see what Collins does. Looks good.
That's a great point. All you can do is concentrate on what you're doing. Try and put some pressure back on our leader. And another fine tee shot.
Well, make no bones about it, we have seen some delightful golf in this playoff.
Yeah, and Trilby Tour records are falling as we speak. Birdie net eagle, birdie net eagle.
Yeah, Paul Collins absolutely bossing this playoff.
His first sign of trouble though, semi-rough. He's got that slightly longer rough behind him, and he's got to avoid that front bunker. Does not want to let this slip at this late stage. A few of the members up on the hill there. I reckon that's a fairly popular spot on the Sunday medal.
Collins' playoff hopes right here on this shot. He's got a good connection. It's trouble though. Oh, is it? Oh my goodness me.
When it's your day, it's your day. A little hop, a skip and a jump. And I wouldn't put it past him to roll that one in for another birdie.
Paul Collins heaves a sigh of relief. The job is almost done, and he knows it. Oh yes.
I told you he'd smile. I did tell you he'd smile.
Well, how do you feel for the other guys now? My goodness.
Yeah, and sometimes you just got to take your Trilby off and say well played. But Hayward won't have given up just yet. Needs a miracle. Needs to jam this one in close, trying to move it in from right to left. Just too strong. I'm going to watch that meander off the back of the green. That's going to leave him a fairly straightforward little chip.
Collins' ball on the green and looking very good indeed, and for Hayward, he knows that, well, to give himself a chance he had to hold that, and the same applies to Johnny Milani. He's played some superb golf. He's 1 under, but if he doesn't stick this in the hole, it's game over.
Yeah, flag position just on that camber, so tough to get it close. Only about 100 yards to go to one of his wedges, probably a 3/4 pitching wedge. Screaming at it to go, would have looked great in the air. And a super shot, finished with some style.
Yeah, we mustn't devalue the golf that we're seeing here. I mean, that's just an exquisite shot from Johnny Milani. But in the context of this playoff, it's not good enough. Can you believe it?
I think you'll see 2012 entrants looking where Paul Collins has entered and avoiding that venue. It's probably the right time to say hello to the Sproulston Manor Handicap Committee.
Cue massive round of applause in the clubhouse at that point. Now Andrew Milray has shown us, I'm glad to say, on this final hole what a good golfer he is. Set himself perfectly here.
Yeah, stunning view of the 18th hole. Great looking swing. And another one looking to finish in style.
Well, that's exactly what Andrew Milray has done here at Rockliffe Hall, but I'm afraid he's into black and white, and we know what that means. His race is run. All very dramatic, isn't it? But Milani, well worth another look at this shot, Matt.
Yeah, super wedge shot from where he stood. That's all over the flag. Screaming for it to get up, just avoids that front bunker. Feeds down that green to some 12 feet.
Yeah, and it gives us the opportunity to quote the classic phrase, well played, you're out.
That'll be the classic Trilby Tour phrase, will it?
Hayward then, from off the back of the green. Well, tough shot from there, and he's been faced with a few tricky ones over the last 2 holes, and for Julian Hayward, it's a case of well done, we'll see you at the final.
Now, Paul Collins plays off 8 today. Has a makeable birdie putt here on 18 to go birdie, birdie, birdie. 3-3-3. Whichever way you look at it, it's been phenomenal golf.
There it goes. Oh, it's close, it's close. Oh, well, he's ruined his scorecard, Matt.
It's just not good enough. He needs to go away and do some work on that. Did he not read the script?
Now look at this reaction. He thinks it's in.
He's loving it at this point. It's in. Oh, careful. Don't go doing yourself an injury.
Yeah, got a final to play. Got a putt to knock in as well for the title. Well, you've already said it. Trilby's off to Collins, but hats off to these boys as well. Milani, Haywood and Milray have contributed to this playoff final, but it hasn't been their day.
No, unfortunately not. Some great golf, some great positives to take forward. Handled themselves very well.
Yeah, but some days you just know that somebody else's name is going to be on the trophy, and today it's not Haywood or Milani. That's it, young Johnny. Keep smiling for the cameras.
Yeah, well done. Enjoyed finishing third today, you? Yeah, great. Really pleased with second.
Nothing they could do about it. This man has stolen the show. Paul Collins, quite amazing. This then, for the title. He's done it. Paul Collins takes the 5th regional title of the season with a Trilby Tour playoff record score of 4 under. Well played the rest, but nobody could live with Collins today. And a well-deserved hug for Dad. The man who taught him to play golf gets to see his son win on the Trilby Tour. What a tournament here at Rockliffe Hall. Next week we're taking a break to give you a chance to get your breath back. Then in 2 weeks' time, the tour heads to the spectacular Fox Hills for event number 6 as another 120 hopefuls bid for a place at this season's top table. The International Amateur Final at the Buckinghamshire Golf Club. And with the exception of next week, don't forget, 10 PM Monday nights on Sky Sports is Trilby time. But here at Rockliffe Hall, Paul Collins joins the ranks of Trilby Tour legend. Let's hear from a slightly stunned winner. He's with Clayton Lucas.
Did you honestly imagine when you rocked up here today that you'd be stood here talking to us as the champion?
No, I didn't. No, I just came for a nice game of golf and a good day out, and which it has been. But obviously, winning was a bonus. It's something I didn't expect.
And what's been the highlight for your round today?
I think birdie on the playoff holes. I think definitely was my highlight. Yeah, I fought for a birdie all day today. I didn't get one. Yeah, so that was nice to get them on the playoff holes when they counted. So.
Well, congratulations. What are you looking forward to about going to the final?
Again, another course I haven't played, so that'll be another few days away, and playing golf, which I enjoy more than anything else. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, congratulations. Well done.
Lovely. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Hang on, we're not done just yet from Rockliffe Hall. In the end, even with so much great golf, shot of the day goes to the champion with this to set up birdie number 2, stone dead, to effectively put the playoff out of sight at the second. Classic, understated, Collins magic. And that line gives me the chance to say this, from magic to tragic. This week's Rogues Gallery is a tribute to the Blob, and all built on 2 themes, consecutive shots and bunker play. And we start with the old tee box layup. Superb example. Our first visit to the sand, but it won't be our last. Now remember, consecutive shots. What do all the top coaches say? Poor tee shot, get back on the horse straight away and snap hook it into a bunker. We saw this next shot at the top of the show, but worth another look. First attempt to get out, but still in. First attempt, that's the key phrase there. Oh, and there as well. Third shot, bit of wizardry required. Not exactly Harry Potter, although he does make it disappear, and that's magic. Now look at this, funny how your eye is drawn to that massive expanse of sand, and not just your eye. Roll up, back again. Take 2. It's not coming out, is it? Back to the movies, tin cup territory. Shot 1 off the tee, wee bit too much fade into the drink. Probably have another go though. Still in the sand. Yep, still in the sand.
Oh dear. Off the Rogues Gallery there, fella.
Ooh, goodbye tea, fellow hospital. Now, bet you £5 you can't completely miss the green from there. Oh, should have known. What's up, mate? You just won a £5. Okay, second from the tee, first in the water, remember. Taxi! You're in the middle of the fairway, you've got water all down the right, so don't go right. Hi caramba. Tell you what, let's finish this week's Rogues Gallery on a high note, because sometimes the golfing gods are with you. Amen. Here's William.
It's been a brilliant day at Rockliffe, and we had a unique occurrence where the guy who shot the best score of the day has won the day. Brilliant playoff today, 4 under par. How can that not be the best we've had? It's got to be. And one thing that is overriding all of it is the camaraderie between the 4 players. You know, I'm expecting to be spitting blood at each other, and they do on that first. They're really like the best of enemies. But once a guy clearly gets out in front, the rest support him all the way.
Emotional scenes for the winner as well.
Yeah, he broke up a little bit, and you know what? When they do, they get me every time. They really do get me every time. He looked over at his mum, she was in bits, the girlfriend was in bits, and the old man didn't know where he was. It tells me that it means something when they start to cry, and I like to see grown men cry.
Tears of joy though, tears of joy. That's all from Rockliffe Hall. Don't forget, it's a break next week, and then fabulous Fox Hills is next on the tour. For more information, go to www.williamhunttrilbytour.com. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Ordinary guys doing extraordinary things. The Trilby Tour is brought to you in association with William Hunt, Savile Row, and Callaway.